How's it going, folks? This is Twin Crows, and I'm here again to explain another update to this Hostile Architect. It's a modding tool for Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead that makes it a whole lot simpler to make maps. And I think you guys will be pretty stoked with this new update because um, it fixes a few things that uh, were maybe kind of issues to do with if you wanted to make maps for kind of the vanilla project and get it merged into the actual game itself. There was a few things I had to kind of get through, and as you can see, it's no longer in a web browser. It's actually its own exe file. And so yeah, so this has been actually probably the biggest update yet. So I'm pretty excited to share it with you guys. I'm going to start over here in the Painter tab, and we'll just go through the whole process. I'm going to create another location and test it, make sure it's all working, just so that I can, be sure that everything is 100% finished. So you might see a few new things, and I'll, try to touch on everything that's new. Um, but yeah, so I'll start off here. I'll generate a 24 tile location, and we'll start from there. So the first thing here that's new is I have this thing called default symbol. This is going to help you if you're making maps based on vanilla palettes. So one thing that I learned, I was talking to Turn again the other day, and he mentioned that in order to get a map merged into vanilla, uh, they want you to use vanilla palettes. And so that kind of inspired me to, go on this whole journey and make sure that you're able to import palettes now. And part of that is just sort of if you want to, some of those palettes, you'll have a different default symbol, and that'll just be, whatever your ground is going to be. And yeah, so there's this default symbol, so you can change it to whatever. If I want to change it to X, it'll change everything to X, and that just kind of you have to regenerate your map every time you want to change your symbol. But usually you'll just do that at the beginning after you figure out what you want your fill train to be. And so yeah, so that's kind of the beginning of kind of this painter tab. So I'm going to go over to the palette and I can show you this. So yeah, so I'm sure the thing, if you've been using these other versions before, you'll notice is there's this nice color picker here. I've been using the web browser to go and get hex colors, but I figured I'd just build in a hex picker here so it makes it a lot faster and easier. And the whole goal of this whole app is just to make the process of creating a map fun. So I think this will make it a lot more enjoyable than having to copy paste things. And then, that's really nice and flashy, but the most important thing, the thing I really slaved away for the longest on was this import palette here. So I've marked it with advanced just because you have to know a little bit more in order to do that. If you're still a novice, I'd recommend maybe don't worry about getting things merged into the main vanilla yet. Just do a lot of practice and get good at making your own buildings and things like that before you try and merge anything into main. Um, but if you're advanced, I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do here is I'll go over and I'm going to grab a palette. I've been testing a few of them just to make sure they all work. It's a little bit there's a few things you're going to have to think about when you're importing, and so that's why I do call it an advanced feature because you'll need to know a little bit more than just kind of the basic stuff to do this. But yeah, so essentially what you want to do is you want to grab a palette and you want to isolate it. So you want to have just a single palette. You don't want to try and add multiple palettes at a time. Although you could import multiple palettes and then kind of create your own at the end of it. But what I recommend is just grab the palette here. Make sure you're just grabbing one palette. So I'm just going to try the office palette. We'll make an office building. And then you just click on this paste JSON here, paste it in, and then click on import palette. And voila, there it is. There's the whole palette. Of course, it's not going to set your colors for you because those are just within the app here. So, you might want to do that. If I click on this here, you can see linoleum white oven. One of the things here with the items too, just because, I'm not going crazy with this. I don't want to spend too much effort on it. And especially if you're at this level where you can import stuff, what you can do here, for instance, because we know this is O, what I would recommend is keep that palette open while you're working. Keep the JSON open because it's a convenient way to refer to it. Because there's a few things that I didn't import. For instance, I don't have that repeat. That's kind of it just in the JSON, so I don't have that within the app. But uh, when you're working on a palette anyway, you don't worry too much about this. This is just an aid to get to the painter part of it. The palette importer, it just kind of helps you get to there. But specifically, what I wanted to show was we have O, so O is our oven. In here we have the item, so it has oven chance 70. You can see I don't import the chance or anything like that, but just know basically when you paint, I'll just go over to the painter and show you. Oh yeah, the other thing before I'm kind of I'm going to be all over the place, but the thing that I want to show for this default symbol, because this is really essential when you're working on a palette, is you want to figure out what you want your ground to be. So for instance here, I know this space is going to be T region ground cover urban. And so what I want to make sure I do is your ground cover, you want that to be, what your default is. So I'm just going to add a space there, hit the 24x, and what that's going to do is go ahead and regenerate all of the tiles with that default symbol there. So yeah, so now, essentially, um, yeah, that's what that does. If I go over to the palette again, I can just kind of take a look through and, if I want to set some colors for things, so let's say this is a T-floor office mess. So what I'll do here is, because I know floor is kind of, in my tile set, it's at least kind of a brownish kind of color, so I'll color it that. I'll save over, and if you're going to be spending much time in this system here, one thing I'd recommend is just, take your time, assign some colors to your palettes. You'll be glad you did. They don't need to be the perfect color, but just kind of something to help differentiate it can help you with picking it out in the list there. I'm not going to go through all of it because I'm just kind of showing you guys a demo, but I'll do just a couple rows here while I work away at it. But yeah, it's been pretty fun building this thing. I'm excited to be done in a certain way though, because it does take a lot of time, and I wanted to make sure that I got this all good and out there, because I feel pretty uh, confident about this thing. I think that a lot of people will get a lot of use out of it, so I'm gonna see if I can push it a little bit further and make sure that people know it's there, because I just made the one Reddit post, but I'm probably gonna take a look at some other things. Okay, so as I was clicking through it, I came across one of these that looks a little bit weird, right? So, chance, that's not a real item group, and I just want to talk about that. So, when you're importing to JSON, and this isn't something I'm going to fix, you're just going to have to deal with it. Um, Sometimes what it's going to do is it's going to import things strangely, and it's up to you to fix it. So, for instance, here I go, I is normally the tile linoleum white, and so I'll just go and check that. So I is tile linoleum white, that's right. But the thing about it is that it's not supposed to have all those items. And so I don't need to figure out where those came in from. Really, all I need to do, and it doesn't really matter, but if you want to just, have a nice clean environment, just go ahead and save those things and then save it over. Just because when I imported it, it generated with extra items. But, I've said it before, the thing about the palette here is that it's not really necessary. You don't need to really, you're not going to be exporting this palette because the exported palette's right here anyway. So really just think about the anything that you see here, any of these settings. So F sync, F linoleum white. That's really just within the app to help you figure out what that palette button is. And so, you don't need to clean it up too much. Just kind of consider that it'll make it a little bit easier for you if it's all set up correctly. And yeah, so I'm gonna go through, let me see, so I have a wall, I think I have a floor too, that's pretty good. And let's see, I'm gonna do the door here as well, make that a kind of a blue, kind of steely kind of color. And yeah, so there's a glass wall, I'll make that kind of a nice color too. Um, Yeah, so we've got a few things defined in our palette now. I'm going to go over to my painter and start dropping those down. And so we can see here's all of our palette now. This really great amount of things. This would have taken a lot longer if we customized all this stuff by hand. And so, yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to build myself just a little office. I'm just going to set my region up here to be a shop. And yeah, let's get into it. So just going to make a little square here. Nice big square. And that's going to be the office. and I think I had a pavement or something. Let me take a look at this. This is why when I've been doing some testing with it, and I like to just keep this JSON open because you can just refer to it pretty easy and go, oh, okay, there's that thing. So for instance, I want to find some pavement so that I know the pavement's in the underscore there. So find that underscore, and let's just make a cool. I'll make a little driveway. So a driveway going up to it. Okay, and then do we have a sidewalk? Oh, there we go. There's the sidewalk. So I do have one that's just the S there. So I'll grab that, and we'll just put that little sidewalk there. It's not really here actually. Let's I'll make it a little bit wider, so it'll be a kind of a parking lot right beside it. This is just for fun. I don't need to make it perfect or anything. And I also had this Y. Oh no, not this Y. It was where's the yellow pavement? There it is. It's the comma. So click on this one. Oh, I see my items. I'll try and fix that before I release it. It's just the item display there doesn't seem to be updating when it's blank. So those will be yellow lines. Another thing you can do too, I'm just going to go into my palette here and I'm going to change that color so it's kind of a yellow, and I can see it when I'm painting too, so I'll just drop that out there. Okay, and so now I'm just going to do the floor. Just make it a normal floor. I'll do the dot there. Oh, the dot is the mess. Uh, let's see. It's the semicolon. I guess it's the full colon. Where is it? There it is. Oh, I see. I'm not quite sure which one it is. Let me take a look. Yeah, so the dot will be the office mess, and then the semicolon is with, or the colon is without it. So I'll just drop some of those down there, and I'll do the door. And I think these windows, yeah, these W's are windows too. So let's make a nice big front window. Let's do a couple side windows too. Okay, and for the interior, I'm going to set up a desk. So grab that D there. Let's do a few desks. Let's make it like 4 desks there. We'll put one long desk right here, and I'll put another one there. And I know the chair is the H. There's the H. There it is. So put the chair there, one there, and then let's do 2 chairs there. And just for fun, let's make a couple lockers. So the lockers are the lowercase y. There it is. So oh, I see. The locker is going to be the white linoleum on the background there. I wonder if I should make the whole thing white linoleum. Yeah, I think I'll make the whole thing white linoleum. Because I think the desk is that way too. Let me just check. I think it is. Yeah, I'll make the ground like white linoleum. So I think that was the I. Yep. So the lowercase I. Another thing to think about, just because I ran into this issue with my palette when I was doing testing earlier, is the uppercase I looks very similar to the lowercase L. So I'm sure if you know, that's a normal thing, but just keep that in mind. The lowercase L is just a tiny bit lower than the uppercase I. I might change the font at some point in the future, but just for this release, just keep in mind the I and the L, they'll look a little bit different. I'm going to grab the I there, and I'll just fill in everything here. And that looks pretty good. So, um, I did color everything in that I could have, but Specifically, what I wanted to show you guys was that importing function. So you're able to import, which is pretty cool. Now I'm going to make my way over to the exporting, and you can see there's a few things here. So if you're importing, one thing to think about is you want to check this imported palette, and you can see it's already put in that Office palette ID for me, so I don't need to do anything about that. Over here, I'm going to call it TC Office Demo, TC Office Demo, TC Office Demo 1, and then I'll go Office Demo there. Okay, and so I'll click on Export JSON. You can see it skipped the exporting the palette. That's because I won't need to create that file. And what I want to do now is I'll go into my CDDA folder, my data, go into my mods, and create a new folder there. I'm going to call it Demo Office there. We'll create the modinfo.json, copy and paste that. That looks pretty good. If you're starting to do advanced stuff, I would recommend making sure those files are accurate, because um, if since you're importing and doing a little bit of extra stuff like that, um, I'm I'm assuming and giving you the responsibility to take a look at some of those things. For instance, one thing I've noticed right here is that with my roof, just because I was going quickly through it, I forgot to deselect the roofs. And so over here on my palette, what I could do is I'll go over to my which one is it? The pavement, which was the underscore here. I'm going to deselect that and ensure has roof. I'll save that one over that one, and then I'll do the same for the yellow palette or the yellow pavement, and let's see if that fixed it. So I'll click on export again, grab my map, and paste that over. Doesn't look like it did it. Let me just make sure. Yeah, so it didn't remove that. So just the thing to think about is you'll want to make sure that's all accurate and everything for yourself, so that it's not going to generate the uh, anything that you don't want. It's not going to generate a roof above things that it doesn't need to. And yeah, so what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to real quickly go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'll just copy paste that down to the next row just to get rid of the roof that's going to be on there. As you can see, as we get into some of the more advanced stuff, there's some things I can do to help make it easier, but I don't have an infinite amount of time that I can spend on this tool, so it is going to be what it is at the end of the day. So uh, but it certainly beats doing this all by hand. At least it speeds it up a whole bunch. Another thing to think about here is we have this terrain region ground cover. That's probably not necessary, since let me pull up the office palette here. Within our office, we have the space set as the region ground cover urban, which is different from that. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove that terrain. So just use the palettes there, and the rest of this looks okay to me. It's going to be T floor. So pretty much one thing to think about is sometimes uh, uh, certain symbols are not going to have a floor set for them. For instance, I'm going to go over to my desk. So I have D is my desk. But if I look up here in my terrains, I don't think I see that lowercase d. And so what's going to happen for that is it's going to inherit the fill terrain. And so for this, you're going to want to set this to whatever you want your fill to be. So for me, I actually want that to be the white linoleum rather than a floor. So I'll just go ahead and paste that over. And what that's going to do is within my map, for anything that doesn't have the floor specified within the terrain, that one's just going to inherit this fill terrain there. So just a thing to think about. And that's how you set kind of what's underneath things by default if it's not specified elsewhere. Same thing with here. So for instance, with this roof, you can see it is going to fill the terrain with open air for any symbol that's not recognized or defined. So that's pretty good. So there's the demo, there's the roof, and now I'm going to go through. I need to do the overmap terrain. And that looks pretty good. There's nothing special with the overmap terrain with this importing JSON. That doesn't change anything. And we're going to do the overmap specials.json. Paste that in there. Again, this doesn't. There's nothing different with this one compared to the last version. And then regional map settings.json. Those names don't need to be correct, but it helps if you're going to try. And the goal with this version is to give you everything you'd need to potentially get something merged into the main if you do it all correctly. Um, so there it is. So I think that's good. I only needed the 5 files because I didn't need to do my palette because the palette's actually using a vanilla palette. And so now we're going to give it a go. We'll see if it worked correctly. I've been testing this, but I could be surprised here. So we'll create a new world, and this one's called TC Office Demo. We're going to add that mod in, and then we'll go Demo Office is going to be the name of the world. Create a new character on it. So demo Office. Okay, cool. So what's it saying here? So demo office line 38.5 expecting string, but got palettes. So what I'm going to take a look at is let's see. So that's within the map there. So I'm going to open up my map file. We're going to do a little bit of troubleshooting. So mods, demo office map, and let's see what's up here. So I think all that happened is maybe when I was deleting that terrain, I think I probably just forgot to close that object there. So just this one here needed to needed to close that there. So I'm going to save that and going to close down Cataclysm and I'll reboot it. And if there's an error, you don't need to regenerate your world if you haven't really finished the whole generation process. Because it crashed when it was creating the world, we can just kind of pick that same world and try and create it again. And it worked. Okay, so or at least it might not have worked. I guess it generated everything without issue. So let's take a look. We're gonna go and try and find. It should be in town somewhere. Office demo, sweet, easy to find. And take a look at that. Oh my God, it worked. So we have our. My God, this is the first. I've been doing some testing. My God, this update has taken a long time to figure out. That's awesome. I love that so much. It worked properly. You can even see. Let me teleport outside too and take a look at that. Nice. So you can see there's the kind of the way that you could drive over there. I'm not sure if that's the proper way to do the driveways or not, but you're going to drive over the sidewalk and then you're going to get over here into the parking lot for this office here. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. A little bit curious because I'm pretty sure. Let me take a look at my map again because maybe I'm wrong. But I thought I put something. I thought I put like lockers or something, but maybe I'm wrong. I've been I've been doing a lot of this stuff, so it's let's see, no, I guess I didn't. I was thinking of doing lockers, but I guess I didn't do that at the end of the day. But yeah, you can take a look. You can see over here, and there's desks. They have a chance to spawn some stuff, which is exactly right. And yeah, so that's how it works, and it works. I'm very happy to see that because it's this whole project has been a long process for me. It's been quite a few hours. I'd probably say maybe 40 hours so far building this thing, and pretty stoked that now you can create locations based on a vanilla palette with the minimal amount of work. I'm not sure how long I've been recording, but that's how quickly you can create something. Um, and again, there's certain things that I'm not going to include in this. For instance, monster spawns, because normally you would want to have some monsters spawning maybe inside certain rooms. That you're going to have to do on your own through the JSON. I think I'm almost at the point where I'm ready to retire. Pretty happy with how this tool has gone, and I don't see a huge need to develop it any further. I think I can just let it loose in the world. Um, so yeah, I hope you guys have a lot of fun building locations. I've heard from a few folks so far who have been testing that out. I'm gonna, while I ramble on, I'm just gonna take a look and see if I can find any more instances. Um, and yeah, it's been really cool. I'm interested to see what is possible now. I know there's a few people who are pretty stoked to do some work in this. And now that you can import palettes, that's going to make it a whole lot easier because even if you have your own custom palette that you've designed, it'll be a whole lot easier. And then ideally, if you want to get something merged into the main game, um, using those other palettes. Here's another one. Using those, nice, that looks awesome. Using the yeah, using vanilla palettes or modded palettes, you can make stuff pretty quick now. So I'm hoping to see a whole lot of folks go in and make some things that'll definitely make the time investment on my part, well worth it. Um, so yeah, I think that's good. You can see it works. It's perfect. Well, maybe not perfect, but as good as you could hope for from a free tool like this. Um, and yeah, I'm looking forward to playing any maps you guys create. Feel free to let me know if you made something cool. I'd always love to check it out. And I'll definitely encourage you on to make your own contributions within making using this tool and everything. um, but yeah, anyways, that's enough rambling on. I hope you have a really great one. Hope you have some fun making some really cool locations with this tool, and I'll probably see you around. I don't know if I'll do any more of these updates, so you'll just have to catch me in text and stuff like that. So have a good one. Wish you all the best, and I'll see you around.